Dangerously in Love. Episode 21. Officially together, endless teasing and overexcited families. The morning after their confession, Sia woke up smiling. Then immediately hid her face in a pillow. Dash. Oh my god. Dash. She had a boyfriend. Dash. Not just any boyfriend. Dash. Advik Raijada. Dash. The billionaire vampire. Dash. The paint victim. Dash. The man she loved. Dash. A message notification appeared. Dash. Advik, good morning. Dash. Sia smiled. Dash. Then another message arrived. Dash. Advik, are you still staring at your phone and smiling? Dash. Her eyes widened. Dash. Sia, how did you know? Dash. Advik, lucky guess. Dash. Sia, liar. Dash. Advik, love you too. Dash. Sia buried her face in the pillow again. Dash. This is embarrassing. Dash. Meanwhile, across the city, Advik was smiling at his phone. Dash. Rohan walked into the office, stopped, and immediately backed out. Dash. Nope. Dash. What? Dash. You're smiling before 9 a.m. Dash. Advik threw a file at him. Dash. Unfortunately, things became much worse. Dash. Because both families found out. Dash. Immediately. Dash. At the Roy mansion, Sia walked into breakfast. Dash. Every family member was smiling. Dash. Every single one. Dash. Oh no. Dash. Her mother clapped excitedly. Dash. How is Advik? Dash. Sia froze. Dash. What? Dash. Her father laughed. Dash. You confessed yesterday. Dash. How do you know? Dash. Her grandfather looked offended. Dash. You think secrets survive in this family? Dash. Sia wanted to disappear. Dash. Across the city, Advik was suffering the exact same fate. Dash. His grandmother practically floated into the dining room. Dash. My future grandson's father. Dash. Advik nearly dropped his coffee. Dash. Grandmother. Dash. What? Dash. You skipped several steps. Dash. Details. Dash. Important details. Dash. Not really. Dash. Rohan laughed so hard he almost fell out of his chair. Dash. Later that evening, Advik and Sia met at a quiet cafe. The moment Sia arrived, your family knows. Your family knows. They spoke simultaneously. Then both groaned. Mine started discussing wedding venues. Mine started discussing grandchildren. Sia nearly choked. What? I know. My grandfather asked if I preferred mountains or beaches. For what? Honeymoon destinations. Both stared at each other. Then burst out laughing. Because their families were impossible. As they sat together, Advik reached across the table and gently took her hand. No hiding. No pretending. No fake names. Just Advik and Sia. Officially together. For a moment, everything felt perfect. Then Sia's phone buzzed. A message. Unknown number. Her smile disappeared. Slowly. Because the message contained only one sentence. Some stories have happy beginnings. Not all of them have happy endings. The warmth vanished instantly. Advik noticed. Sia. She silently handed him the phone. His expression hardened. The same protective look she had seen before. Someone was watching again. And this time, they weren't hiding it. Far away, in a dark office, a shadowy figure looked at a photograph of Advik and Sia together. Then smiled. Because the real game was finally beginning. Dangerously in Love. Episode 22. The Threat, a dangerous message and a secret enemy. The cafe suddenly felt colder. The anonymous message glowed on Sia's phone screen. Dash. Some stories have happy beginnings. Not all of them have happy endings. Dash. For the first time in weeks, Sia looked genuinely frightened. Dash. Advik immediately noticed. Dash. Without thinking, he moved his chair closer. Dash. Look at me. Dash. Sia did. Dash. His voice remained calm. Steady. Certain. Dash. Nothing is going to happen to you. Dash. For some reason, she believed him. Dash. Completely. Dash. Still, the message bothered her. Dash. Who keeps doing this? Dash. I don't know. Dash. Yet. Dash. That single word caught her attention. Dash. Yet. Dash. A dangerous smile appeared on Advik's face. Dash. Nobody threatens the people I care about. Dash. Sia's heartbeat skipped. Dash. Even now. Even during something scary. He somehow managed to make her blush. Dash. People? Dash. Advik raised an eyebrow. Dash. Fine. Dash. The person. Dash. Sia smiled. Dash. A small smile. But enough. Dash. Back at Raijada Tower. The investigation intensified. Dash. Every phone record. Every security camera. Every message. Dash. Nothing escaped scrutiny. Dash. Rohan entered the office carrying fresh reports. Dash. Good news. Dash. Advik looked up. Dash. We found the number. Dash. And? Dash. It doesn't exist. Dash. Silence. Dash. What? Dash. It was generated through multiple anonymous servers. Dash. Advik leaned back. Dash. Whoever was behind this was careful. Very careful. Dash. Too careful. Dash. Meanwhile, at the Roy mansion, Vikram Roy received unexpected visitors. Dash. Two men. Unknown. Dash. Both dressed formally. Both carrying identical silver envelopes. Dash. We were asked to deliver this. Dash. Vikram frowned. Dash. By whom? Dash. Neither answered. Dash. They simply left. Dash. Immediately. Dash. The moment the door closed, Vikram opened the envelope. His expression changed instantly. Shock. Then anger. Then something far worse. Fear. Because inside was an old photograph. A photograph from 20 years ago. A photograph he thought had been destroyed forever. And written underneath, the past remembers. Vikram's hands tightened. No. For the first time in years. He looked terrified. That evening, he requested an urgent meeting. With Advik. An hour later, both sat inside a private office. Vikram placed the photograph on the table. Advik studied it carefully. The image showed several young men standing together. One of them was a younger Vikram. Another was Sia's father. And a third man's face had been deliberately scratched out. Destroyed. Removed. Who is he? Vikram remained silent. For several seconds. Then finally spoke. The biggest mistake our families ever made. The room fell silent. What does that mean? Vikram looked exhausted. It means the person threatening Sia might not be a stranger. Advik's expression darkened. Who is he? Vikram stared at the damaged photograph. His voice barely above a whisper. A man we thought was gone forever. At that exact moment. Across the city. Inside a luxurious penthouse. A mysterious figure stood before a wall covered with photographs. Photos of Sia. Photos of Advik. Photos of both families. Slowly, the man pinned a new picture onto the board. The photograph from their confession night. Then smiled. Coldly. Patiently. Because after 20 years, he was finally ready to finish what had started long ago. And Advik and Sia had unknowingly stepped into the middle of it. Dangerously in love. Episode 23, The Ghost from the Past, A Forgotten Betrayal. Advik stared at the old photograph. A younger Vikram Roy. A younger Mr. Roy. And the face that had been scratched out. Dash. Who is he? Dash. The question hung in the air. Dash. Vikram closed his eyes. As if speaking the name would bring back memories he wanted buried. Dash. Finally. He answered. Dash. Rudra Khanna. Dash. The room fell silent. Dash. Advik had heard the name before. Years ago. Whispers. Rumors. Stories. Dash. A brilliant businessman. A trusted friend. Almost family. Dash. Then suddenly. Gone. Dash. What happened? Dash. Vikram laughed bitterly. Dash. We betrayed him. Dash. Advik froze. Dash. What? Dash. Or at least. Dash. Vikram looked away. Dash. That's what he believes. Dash. 20 years earlier, the Roys and Khannas had built an empire together. Dash. Rudra Khanna had been like a brother to Sia's father. A best friend. A partner. Family. Dash. Then a business deal collapsed. Millions were lost. Companies failed. Relationships shattered. Dash. Evidence appeared suggesting Rudra had stolen money. Dash. Everyone turned against him. Dash. Including his closest friends. Dash. He swore he was innocent. Dash. Vikram's voice was heavy. Dash. But nobody believed him. Dash. And then? Dash. He disappeared. Dash. For 20 years. Nothing. Dash. No contact. No sightings. No trace. Dash. Until now. Dash. Meanwhile, at the Roy mansion, Sia sat in the garden reading a book, completely unaware of the storm approaching her life. Dash. Her phone buzzed. Dash. Advik calling. Dash. A smile immediately appeared. Dash. Hi. Dash. Where are you? Dash. In the garden. Dash. Stay there. Dash. What? Dash. I'm coming. Dash. Before she could ask questions, he ended the call. Dash. 30 minutes later, Advik arrived. Dash. The moment Sia saw his face, her smile faded. Dash. Something was wrong. Dash. Very wrong. Advik. He sat beside her. And for the first time since they started dating, he didn't know what to say. Because the truth was dangerous. And he hated keeping secrets from her. I found something. Sia immediately sat up. The messages? He nodded. Her stomach tightened. Who is it? Advik looked directly at her. A man named Rudra Khanna. The book slipped from her hands. Because she knew that name. Everyone in the Roy family did. The name nobody mentioned. The story nobody explained. The family mystery. That's impossible. Apparently, it wasn't. That night, the entire Roy family gathered in the main hall. For the first time in years, the truth could no longer stay buried. Vikram placed the old photograph on the table. Nobody spoke. Nobody smiled. Nobody looked comfortable. Then Sia's grandfather whispered, "He's back." Fear filled the room. Real fear. The kind that comes from old mistakes returning. At that exact moment, a black envelope arrived at the mansion gates. Addressed to the Roy family. Inside was a single invitation. Tomorrow, 8 p.m. The Imperial Grand Hotel rooftop. And underneath, 5 chilling words. It's time to talk. Rudra Khanna. The ghost from the past had finally stepped into the light. And tomorrow night, everything would change. Dangerously in love. Episode 24. The Rooftop Meeting, Rudra Khanna returns. The Imperial Grand Hotel rooftop. 8 p.m. Dash. The entire Roy family arrived together. Dash. Nobody spoke during the drive. Nobody smiled. Nobody joked. Dash. Even Sia felt the tension. Dash. Because for the first time in her life, she was seeing fear in her family's eyes. Dash. Real fear. Dash. Beside her stood Advik. Calm. Protective. Ready. Dash. The rooftop was empty. Silent. Dark. Dash. Only one man stood near the edge. Dash. His back facing them. Dash. Hands clasped behind him. Dash. Waiting. Dash. The moment they arrived, he slowly turned around. Dash. Sia's breath caught. Dash. The man looked to be in his late 50s. Tall. Sharp-featured. Silver-haired. Dash. His eyes held decades of pain. And anger. Dash. Rudra Khanna. Dash. The name echoed through the silence. Dash. For a long moment. Nobody moved. Dash. Then Rudra smiled. Dash. Not warmly. Not kindly. Dash. A smile filled with old wounds. Dash. 20 years. Dash. His voice was calm. Dash. 20 years, and this is the first family reunion. Dash. No one laughed. Dash. Vikram stepped forward. Dash. What do you want? Dash. Rudra's smile vanished. Dash. The truth. Dash. Silence. Dash. You already know the truth, Sia's grandfather said. Dash. No. Dash. Rudra's voice hardened. Dash. I know the lie you all believed. Dash. The atmosphere instantly changed. Dash. Advik subtly moved closer to Sia. Dash. Without thinking, she reached for his hand. Dash. And he held it. Dash. Firmly. Dash. Steadily. Dash. Never letting go. Dash. Rudra noticed. Dash. His gaze softened for the first time. Dash. Interesting. Dash. Then he looked back at the Roy family. Dash. Tell her. Dash. Nobody answered. Dash. Tell Sia. Dash. The older generation exchanged nervous glances. Dash. Finally. Rudra threw a thick file onto the table. Dash. Documents scattered everywhere. Dash. Contracts. Financial records. Bank statements. Evidence. Lots of evidence. The money was never stolen. The rooftop fell silent. What? Sia whispered. Rudra laughed bitterly. I was framed. Shock spread across every face. Even Advik looked stunned. For 20 years, Rudra continued. I lived with the label of traitor. I lost my company. My friends. My family. My future. His voice cracked. Just slightly. And I was innocent. Nobody spoke. Because deep down, they were starting to believe him. Then came the final blow. Rudra pulled out one last document. A birth certificate. He placed it directly in front of Sia. Her hands trembled. What is this? Rudra looked at her sadly. The secret your family never told you. Slowly, she looked down. Her eyes scanned the paper. Then widened. The world seemed to stop. Because written on that document was her name, Sia Roy. And beneath it, a line she could barely process. Legal guardian, Vikram Roy. Not father. Not parent. Guardian. Sia froze. No. Her voice was barely audible. No. She looked toward her family. No one denied it. No one corrected it. And suddenly, everything made sense. The whispers. The secrets. The unanswered questions. The strange sadness in Vikram's eyes whenever she asked about her childhood. Tears filled Sia's eyes. What does this mean? Nobody answered. Until Vikram finally stepped forward. His voice breaking. It means. He swallowed hard. I'm not your father. The rooftop fell completely silent. Sia stared at him. Unable to breathe. unable to think, unable to understand. Then came the final truth. The people who raised you. Vikram's eyes filled with tears. Saved you after your parents died. Everything shattered. Sia's world. Her certainty. Her identity. Everything. And as she stumbled backward in shock, Advik immediately caught her, holding her steady, holding her together. Because at that moment, she needed him more than ever. And this was only the beginning. Dangerously in Love. Episode 25, The Truth About Sia, a Lost Past and the One Person Who Refuses to Let Her Fall. The rooftop felt silent. Too silent. Dash. Sia stared at Vikram. The man she had called father her entire life. Dash. What? Dash. The word barely escaped her lips. Dash. No one answered. Dash. No one could. Dash. Because there was no easy way to explain 22 years of secrets. Dash. Tears filled Sia's eyes. Dash. You lied to me. Dash. Vikram looked shattered. Dash. I wanted to protect you. Dash. Protect me from what? Dash. The truth. Dash. The answer hurt even more. Dash. Because it meant everyone knew. Dash. Everyone. Dash. Except her. Dash. Slowly, Sia stepped backward. Dash. Then another step. Dash. Then another. Dash. Unable to look at anyone. Dash. Unable to process anything. Dash. Until suddenly. Dash. A warm hand caught hers. Dash. Advik. Dash. He didn't say anything. Dash. Didn't force her to stay. Didn't force her to listen. Dash. He simply stood beside her. Dash. Letting her know she wasn't alone. Dash. For the first time since the revelation, Sia felt steady enough to breathe. Dash. Hours later, she sat alone on a balcony at the Roy mansion. Dash. The city lights blurred through her tears. Dash. Questions filled her mind. Dash. Who were her real parents? Dash. Why had they died? Dash. Why had no one told her? Dash. And most importantly, why now? Dash. A gentle knock interrupted her thoughts. Dash. She didn't need to look up. Dash. She already knew. Dash. Advik. Dash. Can I come in? Dash. She nodded. Dash. He sat beside her. Dash. Neither spoke immediately. Dash. The silence wasn't uncomfortable. Dash. It never was with him. Dash. Finally Sia whispered. Dash. Everything feels fake. Dash. Advik turned toward her. Dash. No. Dash. She laughed bitterly. Dash. You don't understand. Dash. My whole life changed in one night. Dash. Actually. Dash. His voice remained calm. Dash. I think your whole life stayed exactly the same. Sia frowned. What? Advik smiled softly. The people who loved you yesterday still love you today. The people who raised you still raised you. Your memories are still real. You are still Sia. A tear rolled down her cheek. Because somehow, He always knew exactly what to say. Not perfect words. The right words. The words she needed. What if my real parents were terrible people? What if they weren't? What if they abandoned me? Advik immediately shook his head. They didn't. How do you know? Because I've seen the way your family loves you. His gaze softened. No one protects someone that fiercely unless they loved the people who left her behind. For the first time all night, hope appeared. Small, fragile, but real. The next morning, Vikram entered Sia's room carrying an old wooden box. A box she had never seen before. His hands trembled slightly. This belonged to your mother. Sia froze. My mother? Vikram nodded. Slowly, painfully. For years he had kept the box hidden, waiting for the right moment, praying that moment would never come. But now, there were no more secrets left. Inside the box were photographs, letters, birthday cards, tiny keepsakes, memories, pieces of a life Sia never knew existed. Then she found one final item. A sealed envelope, addressed in elegant handwriting. To my daughter, Sia. Her hands started shaking. Because for the first time in her life, she was holding something written by her mother. A letter. A message waiting more than 20 years to be read. And whatever was inside would change everything.
Thanks for listening. Stay updated for next part, and don't forget to subscribe and comment.